Hi, my name is Dr. Jennifer Guttman. I'm excited to present my new series here, Hope, Empowerment, Adaptation, and Resilience, which is inspired by a blog series of the same title I'm writing each month for Psychology Today magazine. I've witnessed an increase in varying mental health issues among my clients. However, using the 4 skills that I developed, many of them have seen positive internal growth even during these trying times. The first episode is devoted to hope. I'm going to share 6 proven techniques that will assist you in becoming more positive and hopeful in your life. Being hopeful is a way of thinking. It doesn't just happen to you. It requires nurturing. Hope can be an effective tool to help you deal with problems even as ominous as a pandemic. The first technique is to manage negative, hopeless thoughts. Many people get caught up in an endless cycle of negative thinking. To stop falling into this trap, reflect on the positive aspects of what you completed each day. Keep a list by your bedside of the skills and strengths you value the most. Use them to combat insecurities. The second technique is to learn to cope with challenges. Practice improving your frustration tolerance and patience. Learning to cope with waiting will enable you to better manage your emotions. Be aware of potential thinking errors. If you find yourself negative forecasting, stop. Return to the present and don't make assumptions. The third technique is to make a positive contribution to someone else's life. When you do something for someone else, it gets you out of your own world and forces you to look at someone else's challenges. Being thoughtful towards another person will reinforce the attributes you needed to have a positive impact on them. The fourth technique is to try to surround yourself with other positive people. Surrounding yourself with positivity breeds more positivity. Look at your friends and family. Determine who looks at life through a more positive lens. Choose to spend some extra time with the positive people. The fifth technique is to learn to focus on solutions to problems you can control. To cultivate hopefulness, focus on variables within your control. This is particularly applicable right now during a pandemic when many aspects are beyond our control. To sustain a sense of hope, focus on executing goals that are achievable. The last technique is to concentrate on what is working in your life. We often have a negativity bias and tend to focus on things that are not working. Instead, try to force positive events to the forefront of your mind. Turning that into a positive outlook is a muscle you can strengthen. This will result in a stronger sense of purpose, motivation, and confidence. While it may seem daunting, it is absolutely possible to become a more hopeful person using these 6 techniques, plus a dose of patience and perseverance. Please tune in next month for my next episode on empowerment. I'm Dr. Jennifer Guttman, and I want to welcome you to the second episode of my new series here on empowerment. In my first episode on hope, I shared 6 proven techniques to assist you in manifesting a more positive and hopeful outlook in your life. Empowerment is naturally compatible with being more hopeful. It can influence your ability to develop your mental and physical levels of competency. This will help you identify goals and complete them. Empowerment manifests more self-confidence and a renewed sense of purpose. I'm going to share 5 techniques that I have used successfully to help my clients increase their sense of empowerment. The first technique is to honestly assess yourself. Honestly assess your strengths and weaknesses. Pay attention to what you have control over in your life. Make sure the goals you set for yourself are achievable without involvement from the outside world. When you have an external locus of control, we feel powerless. If we have an internal locus of control, it yields a sense of power. The second technique is don't be afraid to accept advice from a few trusted sources. If you're enduring challenges you're unable to resolve, it's okay to abandon the "I must do this by myself" attitude. Don't be afraid to consult with a role model, a mentor, or someone you naturally trust. Listening objectively can be an asset. When you ask for help, you ultimately decide whether the information or opinions offered are beneficial. Learning to assess what's best will help reinforce your ability to judge options, develop a sense of purpose, effectiveness, and self-respect. When you're successful, you experience self-empowerment. The third technique is to develop an action plan. Creating an effective action plan requires you maintain your internal locus of control. Choose a goal based on your strengths and within your sphere of control. Don't shoot for the moon. Break large goals into small, achievable ones. Close and then move on to the next. You will feel a stronger sense of achievement and more empowered. The fourth is to track your progress. Maintain a daily written account of your achievements. Measure and evaluate your progress in executing your goals. Review any evidence to challenge the negative thinking that ingrains powerlessness in your core belief system. You can change the narrative and restructure your core belief system to focus on empowerment. In turn, this will help you attack goals with a more positive outlook. The fifth technique is to exercise. Develop an exercise regimen that will help you build strength, discipline, perseverance, and power. If you commit and sustain your regimen, you'll start to experience a noticeable rise in your level of self-confidence. When your body feels stronger, your mind will too. Empowerment, coupled with a hopeful outlook, can dramatically improve your feelings of competence and mental health. Find out how adaptation can be utilized to complement strides you're making with hope and empowerment in my next episode. I'm Dr. Jennifer Guttman. Welcome to the third episode of my Here series. I devoted my first two episodes to hope and empowerment. In this episode, I'm going to discuss adaptation, arguably the most important skill we need. Humans are an incredibly adaptable species, and during these surreal times, we are being tested regularly to adapt to the unknown. Adaptation requires us to use our emotional intelligence and active listening to make observations. Adaptation occurs through the cognitive processes of assimilation and accommodation. Assimilation happens when people mold outside information into their pre-existing cognitive networks. Accommodation occurs when we need to create a cognitive bank for new information. Both alternatives are healthy manifestations of adaptation. Although I can't offer you a guaranteed template to become more adaptable, here are 5 techniques which may help you achieve adaptability. The first is ask new questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Asking questions will likely generate answers, which will require a new set of problem-solving skills. It will help you become more confident in your powers of adaptability. The second technique is look through a different lens. Open your mind to small pieces of information from different perspectives. Don't limit yourself to information that falls within your comfort zone. Use the new data to broaden your cognitive networks. Learning to assimilate and accommodate requires cognitive flexibility in the way you think and yields adaptability. The third technique is experimentation is learning. Try to reframe your actions as experiments in adaptability. In that way, success is not the goal, so don't worry about the results of the experiment. You have the power to make any action a positive experience, and in that way, you will get an A+ for coping effectively. The fourth technique is be comfortable with discomfort. The more comfortable you are with stepping out of your comfort zone, the more adaptable you will become. Discomfort breeds the need to build upon and create new cognitive networks. This in turn can increase your confidence in problem solving. The fifth technique is accept that change is inevitable. Achieving adaptability requires accepting that we are living in unprecedented and chaotic times. It is an unfortunate reality we need to integrate into our psyche and networks. If you find yourself overwhelmed by the constantly changing times, trust your ability to problem solve and be patient. Adaptation takes time to achieve. Fusing adaptation with hope and empowerment will enable you to better manage positive mental health development. Please tune in next month to learn about fostering resilience, the final episode in the series. I'm Dr. Jennifer Guttman, and I'd like to welcome you to Resilience, the final episode of my HERE video series. I selected the 4 skills of HERE: hope, empowerment, adaptation, and resilience to help people cope with these chaotic times and to offer a path forward in their mental health development. Resilience is a critical skill. Resilient people have self-confidence in their ability to bounce back from challenges with a renewed sense of strength and purpose. They feel empowered not to collapse under pressure and utilize their emotional resources to work through troubling times. Learning resilience can also assist in coping with several mental health issues caused by stressful situations at home, work, and in acute environments like a global pandemic. I've identified 5 ways to help you develop a path towards a more resilient lifestyle, and you have the power to master them. The first is self-awareness. To improve self-awareness, focus on your strengths and plan realistic goals. Also, figure out what adaptive strategies you can use to manage any fight or flight response you may experience when things go awry. Together, these will help you build confidence and self-esteem to handle adversity while curbing feelings of hopelessness and despair. The second is coping skills. Strong coping skills include managing and reframing your thoughts, stopping thinking errors, and identifying creative solutions, thereby increasing your internal locus of control. That internal locus of control yields a powerful feeling of competence and confidence that makes you more resilient. You will start to feel like you are living life and life isn't living you. The third is optimism. To build optimism, focus on what you can do without relying on anyone else. Learning to adapt quickly, both emotionally and physically, in problematic situations breeds a belief in your ability to handle challenges as they arise, yielding an optimistic outlook. The fourth is self-regulation. Self-regulation can be achieved by employing emotion management methods such as guided imagery, meditation, and mindfulness. Take a few minutes to note your time and place in space, using objects or details around you while breathing into your body. Make sure your mood and the event are consistent with each other. Feeling in control of your moods will make you feel more effective and resilient. The fifth is communication. Communicating clearly and honestly is necessary to become resilient. Don't be defensive or let your ego get in the way. Both will hinder your ability to emotionally cope with an issue and move on. Utilize your family and friends to help provide a sense of security and comfort during troubling times. Developing resilience isn't meant to be done on an island alone. I encourage you to utilize all of the HERE techniques. hope, empowerment, adaptation, and resilience. They will help you find a path towards improved mental health and sustained satisfaction in your everyday life. Thank you for joining me on this series.